Mystery Island, a place of discovery, a place for you and me.
Way out in the ocean, rising up above the sea, is a land of wonder, is a land of mystery.
Mystery Island, hoo-ha, Mystery Island, hoo.
So much to discover, so much for us to see. God's truth never failing, all the way through history.
Mystery Island, hoo-ha, Mystery Island, hoo.
There's a place you gotta see, a land of discovery. It's Mystery Island, Mystery Island. Searching for the ancient truth, hand it down to me and you. Mystery Island, come on! Won't you come along with me? On a search to the island, for the clues hidden all around. Our God is a treasure, just waiting to be found.
Mystery Island, hoo-ha, Mystery Island, hoo. Mystery Island, hoo-ha, Mystery Island.
There's a place you gotta see, a land of discovery. It's Mystery Island, Mystery Island. Searching for the ancient truth, hand it down to me and you. Mystery Island, come on! Won't you come along with me?
Mystery Island, it's a place for you and me. Ready for discovery? The deeper you dig, the more you will find. Cause that's how it works, a Mystery Island. The path is narrow, so stay on track. But the treasure is yours if you follow the map. God is faithful, God is strong. I can sing of his love all the day long. God is powerful, holy and true. I'm ready for mystery, how about
There's a
you?
place you gotta see, a land of discovery. It's Mystery Island,
It's Mystery Island.
Mystery Island. Searching for the ancient truth, hand it down to me and you. Mystery Island,
It's Mystery Island.
Mystery Island.
It's a place for you and me.
There's a place you gotta see, a land of discovery. It's Mystery Island,
It's Mystery Island.
Mystery Island. Searching for the ancient truth.
It's a place of discovery. It's a place for you and me. Won't you come along with me?
Won't you come along with me?
Mystery Island, hoo-ha, Mystery Island, hoo.
Hey everybody, it's Trisha here for one last time. I hope you've had a good time joining us for Vacation Bible School this year. Did you know that there are lakes and rivers that run under the ocean? Yep, it's true. Emory Church appreciates you and your parents participating in a different kind of Vacation Bible School this year. Maybe you and your family could join us one Sunday at 872 Watson Road in Byhalia. Today, the Bible story is all about Jesus. Really, all of life is about him. Your Bible teachers will talk more about that today and what he did and why it's important. Today, you have one more craft to do and enjoy your last snack. One more thing. Do you know which fish makes for the best librarians? Sharks! Now, get your instructions out for Thursday and have a great time. And don't forget, God loves you and he cares for you. Bye!
Oh, so I did learn how to juggle. You know, if you ever wanted to try to teach yourself to juggle, if you ever get stuck on an island and you have three objects that are sort of the same size, you can teach yourself to juggle. The thing to remember is you always have two of the balls in your hand, and there's one ball in the air if you're juggling with three. And so sometimes you have two balls in the air and one in the hand, but you just try to toss it over and catch it in the opposite hand and just keep it moving. If I can do it, I bet you can too. Well, look, this is our last day together. This is our last day together. You know, and we've been talking about God and some attributes that He has and that He is. You remember the first day we talked about God being great, and I hope you remembered that. Secondly, we talked about God being almighty, right? Yesterday we talked about God being a ruler. And so there were different things that we talked about, but can I tell you this today, that today we're going to talk some about Jesus and who He is, what He did, and what He wants as well. And so we're going to just briefly do that, and hope you pay real close attention again today, as you have been already. Did you know this? You remember that when we talked about God being omniscient, that means God knows everything. He knows everything you've ever thought. He knows everything that you've ever said. He knows everything that you've ever done. I don't know about you, but that could be a scary thing. You know, if I didn't really think about Jesus that much, and I was just constantly doing bad stuff, that might really give me problems. And so what do we do with that? So God is omniscient. He's also omnipresent. You may think that you can maybe go hide somewhere and do bad stuff and God won't know what's happening. Look, if God is really omnipresent, then you can't get away from Him like that. And God's also omnipotent. That is, He's all powerful. And those are just truths about Him. Now, can I tell you that when you are a child of His, those are all very good things for us. Those are good things. So, you know, can I ask you a question? How is it that God can be omnipotent, God can be omnipresent, God can be omniscient, He knows everything about me, and He still loves me? Wow. He loves me anyway, and that's sort of hard to understand. I know that when I leave this life, I will spend eternity with Jesus in heaven. Have you ever thought about that before? How is it that a person can spend eternity with Jesus in heaven? How can you go and see Jesus one day? You know, that's easy. Let me just tell you how to do it. All you've got to do is keep all the 10 commandments and do it perfectly. Then you say, well, Brother Mike, I don't really know all the 10 commandments. How about if we just talk about a couple of them? You know, all you got to do is make sure that you never lie. You've just got to make sure that you never steal anything. You've got to make sure that you obey your parents perfectly. Now, if you're watching this and you're in 5th or 6th grade, you know, I would bet you probably lied. I would bet you may have taken something that wasn't yours, and I would be willing to bet as well that you had been disobedient to mom and dad at some point. Now, you need to understand that all it takes to keep you out of heaven is one little tiny, even what's called a white lie, meaning just barely lying, but still lying. That's all it takes. And once that happens, you can't go there. You can't go there. You've got to be good 100% of the time. Can I tell you that if I had to answer those same questions, you know, had I ever told a lie? Yeah. Had I ever stolen anything? Yes. Had I been disobedient to my parents? Yes. So, what's the difference? Well, let's talk about Adam and Eve for just a minute. You remember that story? You remember that story about Adam and Eve? Adam and Eve, God created them, and He put them in the Garden of Eden and said, "Look, guys, you can go all over this garden. Have a blast. You know, there weren't even fences in Eden. And he let them run around and just enjoy it. And he said, oh, by the way, there's just one thing. Don't eat the tree. Don't eat the fruit off of this one tree. Sure, okay, got it. Well, you know the story. They ate the fruit of that tree. Adam and Eve both did that. And they disobeyed God. And when you and I disobey God, it's called sin. Plain and simply, it's called sin. And all it takes to separate you and me from God is that one sin. That's it. That's it. You know, Jonah sinned. Remember Jonah? We talked about him. Jonah sinned by running away from God and being disobedient to what God called him to do. Wow. And what about Isaiah even talked about, if you look in the Bible, in Isaiah 6, 1 through 8, Isaiah said that he was a man of, the word is unclean lips, meaning he had sinful lips as well. So how did he get past that? How did Jonah get past that? How did you and I get past that? Well, look, God is so great. He's so almighty. He's so powerful. He rules so well that no person who sins will enter his presence in heaven. That's just a fact. But God did something about that. See, he knew that you and I couldn't do anything about it. We can really try real hard. We can go to church all the time. We can pray all the time. We can read our Bibles. We can just be good. But can I tell you that it's not good enough? Romans 5 and verse 8 says, but God demonstrated. I've demonstrated to you how to juggle. But God demonstrated, not juggling, God demonstrated his love toward you and me, in that while we were still sinning, Christ died for the ungodly, it says. Unbelievable that he did that. Jesus died on our behalf. You know, Jesus came to the earth. He lived a perfect life. He died a death that only he could die on our behalf, and he rose on that third day. Let's, you know, we've been talking about Mystery Island and things. What if a pirate had stolen something out of somebody else's ship, or had gone on shore and had stolen something out of a store, taken it back to the ship? The store owner winds up saying, yeah, something's been stolen, and they were able to find the pirate who took the thing. He's guilty. He is completely guilty. There's no getting around it. He stole whatever it was that he stole. And then what if somebody who was completely innocent walked up and said, you know what? I will pay for that item, and I will go to jail as well for that pirate. Would you do that? Would I do that? Well, here's the thing. The God who is great, the God who is almighty, the God who is a ruler did that for you and for me. He took my sin and said, I'll pay for that. I'll take care of that. So what you and I have to do is this. You know, a lot of people don't want to ever say that they've committed sin. A lot of people don't, but you have to do that. You've got to understand that you are separated from God. Secondly, you've got to understand as well that you have to believe that what Jesus did was sufficient to save you. And then you have to confess that to God the Father, that you're a sinner, and that you believe that what Jesus did when he died, was buried, and rose on the third day, and that he has forgiven you of your sin. Can I tell you, that is the only way for you and for me to spend eternity in glory. So maybe you want to do that today. Maybe you want to pray and ask Jesus to be the Lord of your life. What I've just described to you, you understanding those things, that you're a sinner, who Jesus is and what he did, and why it's important for you, those things have got to be true. You know, and your mom and dad can talk to you about that. You know what though? If you would like to talk to me about that, I would love to talk to you about that. Your parents can find out how to contact me through the church's website. And I'd be more than happy to call or to come by your home and sit and visit with you and your parents to talk about the gospel and what that means. I hope you'll think about that. In the meanwhile, I hope you've also enjoyed this week as we talked about God from different perspectives. And you know, I am grateful you've chosen to watch each day. Well, you know what? I sure hope that you've enjoyed Mystery Island this week. As I said, when we began this journey, it was going to be very different for us. We're so used to you being in our church building rather than looking at us on a computer screen or your TV. But we've hoped that what you've heard the gospel, you've heard some great stories, you've had some snacks, you've done some crafts as well. But you know what? You can come visit us at 872 Watson Road, Byhalia, Mississippi. Your parents could bring you to our church. Right now we're meeting at 9:30 and 11 o'clock on Sundays, and we'd love to see you there. If you don't have a church home, ours is open to you, Mom and Dad, and we'd love to be able for you to come. Now, you know, one of the main reasons that we do this is to share the gospel, not just with kids, but when we do things like this online, you're also part of that process. And if you have never received Christ as your Lord, you know, we would love to talk to you about that. And if at any point you want to do that, all you've got to do is contact us there at the church. You can find out that information there on the website on how to get in touch with me. My name is Mike Johnson. I'm the pastor there, and would just love to spend time with you, talk to you about Emory, and talk to you most importantly about Jesus. We hope you'll come back at some point.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic port aboard this tiny ship. The mate was a mighty sailing man, the skipper brave and sure. 5 passengers set sail that day for a 3-hour tour, a 3-hour tour. The weather started getting rough, the tiny ship was tossed. If not for the courage of the fearless crew, the minnow would be lost. The minnow would...
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Through countless dangers, doubts, and fears, I have already come. God's grace hath brought me safely here, and grace will lead me home. My chains are